All right, everybody. What's up, guys? Momentum Productions back in the house with another live stream on YouTube. Wow. Wow. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really enjoy doing these lives. I'm starting to really enjoy them. By the way, let me know how the quality is. What's the resolution like? What the audio is like? OBS and YouTube aren't that really reliable together, but as of right now, it seems like the best option. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section or in the live chat. And yeah, without further ado, let's keep it rocking. So in today's live stream, we're going to talk mainly about 2022, what I expect, what do I expect is coming in 2022 when it comes down to like cameras, whether or not you should upgrade your camera, what I think is the most long-lasting camera that you can buy. What's the most future-proof camera? We're going to be talking about that as well. And, I'm not going to waste your time. I honestly think the Sony a7S III is going to be around for a pretty long time. Just because I recently sold my a7S Mark I sold it, I think, 5-6 months ago, and that camera was since 2013. And I've been using it and keeping it for that long, for 8 years. Now, why is the A7S Mark III such a long-term use camera? I just think that the low light capabilities is just extremely powerful for a camera like this. I'm not looking at this camera when it comes down to resolution, even though 4K is more than enough. More than enough. It's great for sharpness. It's not enough to really push in too much in editing. I think 8K, 10K is going to be the future for that. But if you want a low light beast, something that is probably going to be, or something that is the most versatile camera on the market, I think it's the Sony a7S III. Not to mention the high frame rates that it can do. 248 full HD, 128 4K. I mean, that's more than enough than what most people need. And the body size, the battery life, the flip screen. I mean, all of these things are extremely useful. And you're dealing with a company like Sony, which has a ton of money. They have a ton of money for research and development. They will take care of their consumers. So I really do like this Sony a7S III. I'm the kind of guy that wants to put my money to work. Every cent that I earn has to be making me money. Whether if it's investments, or actually it's all investments. Everything that you spend money on is an investment. So everything that you spend money on, especially when it comes down to business, needs to make you more money. And the A7S Mark III already paid for itself over and over again multiple times within a span of like a month or two. So it's been my most used camera. I'm using it right now actually to stream this. And it's one of those cameras that has the least amount of limitations. Now, for a lot of you, you don't need to spend so much on a camera. A7 IV is where you need to be. Still a low light beast, and it offers a lot of similar features that the A7S III offers. But I think Sony, as of right now, is killing the game when it comes down to the amount of features that they put into their cameras. Color science is not their biggest thing, but you can learn how to color your footage and you'll be fine. But I think that Sony really cares about features, and this is what makes these cameras so important. This is what makes them future proof. Features is the most important part. Color science you can always correct, and of course resolution is important, and the amount of lenses and attachments that you can buy for that camera also very important, which is something Sony is continuing to work on. So I really do appreciate that. I like what Sony is doing, and I'm gonna stick to it. People always tell me, "Oh, go Fuji, go Fuji, go Fuji." Fuji is cool, but they don't offer the features that Sony offers. Fuji to me is more of a niche camera because it offers a specific look. I really do like Sony just because Sony knows what most people want in terms of features and resolution. I think Sony really knows what the people want. Canon, also phenomenal company. I still recommend Canon. If you still have a lot of Canon glass, Canon lenses, stick with Canon. Canon will also take care of you. The only issue I had with Canon was when they made the transition to RF. RF lenses, you had to buy either a new set of lenses or a new adapter, and that was kind of annoying. But Sony really kept it to E-mount, and that's why I think Sony, for me, is the way I wanted to stay. I was really considering to switch over back to Canon because I started with Canon. Canon was my first. Then I went to Sony. I even gave Panasonic a shot for a couple of years. So, yeah, I think Sony, as of right now, is killing the game. I do feel like it is the most future-proof company. They're spending a hell of a lot of money, more than Fuji. They're spending more money than Panasonic. And Canon and Sony are just back-to-back. So you really want to stick with these bigger companies because they have the most amount of money, the most amount of research and development. So I do think that that's the way to go. I mean, I got my Sony A9 here from like 2017. This camera is still going strong. Great photography camera. I will be selling it soon. I do want that A7 IV. But yeah, the lenses that Sony makes, I mean, the cameras that Sony makes, I really do consider them being the best right now, no doubt. By the way, shout out to Nanlite for sponsoring the lighting in today's video. Nanlite makes these cool RGB tubes. I'm collaborating with them very soon in a future project, actually 3 future projects, so stay tuned for that. Thank you, Nanlite, really cool lighting company. But yeah, that's what these tube lights are behind me. I'm always constantly playing with different colors, different lighting, and white looks pretty futuristic. I like white. Usually it's like red or blue, but white's pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think. And feel free to ask me questions throughout the live stream, guys. I'm constantly checking out the feed, so let me know. Brian, what's up, my dude? Roger, what's up? Canon with Magic Lantern. Yeah, that's old school stuff. Me here using Fuji with Canon glasses. Awesome, dude. I'm not saying anything is wrong with Fuji, man. It's just everybody has preferences, all right? Everybody, this is just my preference. Preferences are never wrong. It just depends up to the person, you know? My first camera was AF1. I got back in 1977. Damn, man, I haven't been born for like 15 years. The color sciences of A7S III, A1 or A7 IV are perfectly fine for me. Can't see here any real benefit for Canon. Canon honestly makes better bodies. I remember holding a 5D Mark II. This thing's, I mean, it's great. It's fine. But Canon's bodies, when you feel that camera, when you feel the ergonomics on a Canon camera, there's nothing like it. I still think Canon cameras have the best ergonomics out of any other company. I don't own Canon anymore. I own all Sony. But Canon knows ergonomics better than anybody. Nikon, we're not going to talk about Nikon. What about the Ursa G2 Cinema 4K with Sigma 18-35? I don't have too much experience with that, to be honest. I shot with Blackmagic before. I've shot with the Ursa. It's okay. Color, the picture is incredible, but I'm not a fan of the actual using that camera. I'm just not a fan. Again, preference, guys. Preference. Everybody has preferences. How many cameras do you own and how many do you use frequently in your rotation? I own 2 legitimate cameras. Sony A7S III, Sony A9, you know, the ones with interchangeable lenses. And then I have an Insta360 One R, 2 Insta360 Go 2s, and an Insta360 One X2. Hopefully I'm going to get my hands on Insta360's newest camera, the new RS. So that's going to be cool. Hopefully I'll get that soon and we'll talk about it. Basically, what they did with the new Insta360 RS is that they upgraded the processing core, better audio, wider field of view, 6K recording now, which is great, and bigger battery. And it looks like they're claiming better stability. I'm not entirely sure on that, but that's what they're claiming. Hopefully I'll get that RS in and we'll have a look at it. The A7S III codecs are so heavy on my RS 3900. Dude, on the MacBook Pro M1 Max, it handles it like butter. Even on my iPad M1, A7S III footage is pretty clean. I think Apple has been really targeting the codecs coming out of this camera because it was so popular. Will I be testing out the new Sony 16-35G? Yes, so Sony just released a new lens today, the new G16-35. Actually, this is a Zeiss 16-35. Really love this lens, especially for gimbal work. So yeah, hopefully I'll get my hands on the new 16-35 f4, maybe compare it to the Zeiss 16-35, and we'll have a look. The one thing I don't like about the G16-35 is that it's a power zoom. I'm not a big fan of power zoom lenses because I like to quickly zoom in, zoom out, you know. I don't want to have to rely on a power zoom. But I'm kind of curious as to why they made it a power zoom lens, but to each his own. All these companies are great. Canon, Sony, Red, Arri, Blackmagic. Yes. On M1, Premiere can't handle those codecs. Premiere, don't get me started with Premiere, man. I'm editing on Final Cut. Apple favors Apple software, so they're gonna make it work really well on Final Cut. But yes, you are correct. Premiere, I'm just not a fan of Adobe software. Even though sometimes I do have to use it, I'm not a fan of Adobe software. I think they're really trying, they're in the game to make money. They don't really care about the consumer too much. You can tell they don't care because of the subscription-based model they switched over to. And on top of that, they still haven't fixed a lot of the crashing. Of course, you can do incredible stuff with Adobe Premiere, but the UI is just trash compared to Final Cut Pro. Again, preference. Don't get mad at me. This is my preference, all right? But that's what I think. So that's my 2 cents on cameras, guys. When you want to spend $3, $4, $5 grand minimum on a camera, you got to make sure it lasts you a long time. You shouldn't be upgrading camera gear every year. Otherwise, you'll just go broke. Stick with a long-term investment. Long-term investment. Like my M1 Max, I'm going to plan on keeping it for 5 years. My iPhones only last 2 years, and then the battery just goes to shit. So I'm going to keep the iPhone for 2 years, and lenses you can keep forever. Lenses stay the same, man. Lenses, they're like fine wine, you know? Camera bodies, 5 years minimum, you should be fine. So when you're choosing a camera, do your research, look at the footage, ask questions, and do your best to try and see if you can play with this camera in person before you buy, because a couple grand is a lot of money. And this is for like the lower end cameras. If you're talking about Red, you're spending between $30,000 to $60,000, $70,000. You want to make sure that you are going to keep this camera for long term and not have it really go down in value, not really depreciate that much. And the best way to do that is to check its resolution, check its features. And Red is usually pretty good. Red has a pretty good reputation of long-term use for their cameras. So I'm not worried about Red. Sony, on the other hand, you know, they like to push out 2-3 cameras a year. So with Sony, it's a little bit more difficult. Luckily, Premiere started hardware encoding in XAVC-HS, so my RTX 2060 runs super smoothly. So I actually also have a PC. I have a RTX 3070, and it struggled with A7S III footage in Premiere. I'm actually trying to sell that computer, so if you want me to sell it to you, let me know. Yeah. Intel Core i7 11th gen with NVIDIA RTX 3070. Pretty good setup. And it's a slim body design. It's slim. It's a white, slim MSI computer. Lenses get mildew over time, unfortunately. So I've had my 16-35 for 7 years. My older 24-70 I've had for 8 years. No mildew, no nothing of the sort. Again, it also depends on the environment that you're shooting in. If you're shooting in places like Florida or in the swamps for years, yeah, obviously you're going to get condensation. And take your lens to service after you shoot in those locations to prevent mildew. You got to clean out those lenses. Even L-series glass, L-series glass, my G-Master glass, I started noticing some dust inside. My Sigma, the lens that I'm shooting on right now, my 24-70 Sigma, cost me about $1,000. I gotta open it up and clean out the dust. Somehow dust got inside of the lens and it just irritates me. I see a speck of dust. I'm staring it dead on right now. It just irritates me. So I'm gonna have to open up the lens. There's actually a few YouTube videos on how to do that with the Sigma glass. So that I'll reach out to service and see how much they charge for cleaning. But usually I like to do things myself. So that way if something breaks, I'm the one to blame. I don't have to put blame on anybody else but myself. Yeah, so that's just my 2 cents, guys. Remember, lenses can last you a lifetime. Cameras, not so much. So, you know, choose a set of lenses. I would say wide, medium, telephoto. Basically, you only need 3 lenses that you... High quality lenses. Put a little bit more money into the lenses than you do into the camera bodies because these lenses are going to last you a long time. So buy the higher quality build lenses, the better picture quality lenses, and this is what's going to last you and save you money. Remember, long term is better. Trust the process. Trust it. All right. Man, try XAVC HS 10-bit 420. It will run as smooth as butter. Yeah, 420. Yeah, man. It's hard for me to go back to 420. It will run as smooth as butter. I learned it from Tech Notice. Tech Notice, who gives me a Puget Bench article. It runs smoothly. Try it. Yeah, man. It's hard for me to go to 420. I like 422, man. I like 422. That's just my preference. But also factually, 422 does way better with colors. Way better with color grading, especially with green screen work. You can really do a lot of cool things with 422. Sony has a great pro support, $99 a year. Okay, $99 a year. I have never done Sony pro support. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about it. Do they limit you on how many times you can take in for a cleaning? I'm sure they do. Like how many lenses you can take in for a cleaning or how many camera bodies. Let me know. I remember, so I made a few bad purchases in my time. When I first got into the game, I bought this Canon XF305. I wish I still had this camera just for not for actual use, but just to show you guys what I used to work with. It was a documentary type of camera. So it's a camcorder, large camcorder, has an L-series power zoom lens built in. It's not interchangeable. Large, very nice ergonomic body. Full HD 1080p camera. Huge problems with the lens. Really bad vignetting. It had optical image stabilizer turned on, and what happened is whenever you would move the camera, the lens would slightly shift, which is perfectly normal. But the problem is the lens would shift so much that you can actually start to see the barrel of the lens. So you can actually see vignetting from the actual edges of the barrel. And it pissed me off so much. I sent it back to Canon so many times for service. They sent it back to me 3 times and still they could not fix the vignetting. They hooked it up to their computers, tried to reprogram the optical image stabilizer. Did not work. They ended up sending me a brand new XF305, which was kind of cool because I bought this camera used, and it still had the same issues. It still had the same vignetting issues, And on top of that, the new one that they sent me, they didn't calibrate the lens. So at 35 mil, it was actually at 70 mil because it's a power zoom. It's all software based. So they didn't program the lens properly. So I had to send that one back to them. And it was just a whole mess. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to sell this lens or sell this camera at a loss and just go from there. So you do have to go through a slight process when choosing the best camera for you, because that camera was definitely not meant for me. It also had very tiny sensor, 1/3 inch CMOS sensor. So was terrible in low light, and I needed low light performance. It was terrible with the lens. It just wasn't wide enough for me. And I couldn't do anything about it because it's a built-in lens. And I couldn't zoom in and zoom out fast enough because it's a power zoom. So there were definitely a lot of issues with that camera. Definitely lost money on that investment. I think I spent around $4,500 hard-earned money on that camera, and I just did not make that money back. So I took a few grand loss, resold the camera, and moved on with my life. Cried a little bit, but I moved on with my life. So it's really important to really understand, what camera is the right one for you. That camera is a great camera, just not for me. I don't shoot documentaries. I don't shoot travel videos, or I don't need an all-in-one system. I want a camera that you can build up to like building blocks, like Legos, kind of like Reds. Reds are like Legos. You get a brain, you attach a lens, monitor, battery, a whole map box, a whole rig. These Sony cameras are pretty similar. You get a brain, lens, cage, monitor. I mean, it's similar to Red in that sense, where you can just build up your camera how you want it. And I think that's the best way to go for most people. But if you shoot a lot of documentaries, you sometimes don't have the time to build out a camera because you want to be able to pull it out immediately and start shooting. Like if you're shooting a lot of wildlife, you don't have time to rebuild your camera, or just, those cameras are meant for the people that need to instantly shoot something, like 0 lag time. But with that come caveats, such as that built-in lens and just like all the issues that I experienced. They just were not fun for me. Scott says, Sony I've only serviced 1 time, but the website says 3 times per year includes free shipping. Free shipping both ways, or just free shipping back from them? Let me know. That's interesting. And I wonder, 3 times per year, so I'm thinking that includes lenses, right? Or just camera bodies. Sigma, I don't know what Sigma does, but I probably just have to take it to a camera shop to get cleaned, because there's a few specks of dust. And what I'm worried, guys, this is what really sucks, is that once you open up, sorry, I'm checking messages. Once you open up a lens for cleaning, it makes it more prone to dust in the future. Because the factory, the way they make these lenses, they seal it really well. They use adhesive, they use O-rings and all this stuff. Once you open the lens back up, it's never going to be the same again. You're going to increase its vulnerability, more dust is going to settle in, and then if you give it to service, you don't know how they're actually servicing the lens. You assume that they do a good job, but you never know, which is why sometimes it's better to do it on your own, and you know exactly what you are doing, and you know exactly why things happen the way they happen. But again, lenses are tricky. Lenses are very tricky, very easy to break if you don't know what you're doing. And I've had I have a funny story, guys. So with my A7R II, I did something really stupid. I scratched up the LCD display on my A7R II, and instead of just living with it, which is what you're supposed to do, or now I learned my lesson. Now I put protective film over it so it doesn't scratch. But instead of living with those scratches, guys, I decided to buy a replacement LCD screen and attempt a screen replacement. And I ended up screwing up the camera so bad, I ended up frying it and made the camera basically useless. So that was also a big loss. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I knew what I was doing. I was pretty cocky and confident, but nope. I ended up breaking the ribbon cables and just doing all this stuff that just made the camera basically useless. So I lost money on that camera as well. So if you don't know what you're doing, like I didn't know what I was doing, don't touch your stuff. Send it to a professional. But yeah, I mean, it's all like that, man. You need 2 full frame bodies to qualify for Pro. Hell yes, Scott. I got two full frame bodies. That was similar to what Canon was doing. I remember you needed, I think, a specific amount of L series lenses and Pro camera bodies, and I was able to join Canon Pro support. I think it was like $300. I'm just guessing, but this was a while ago. This is back in 2014, I think. All right. Let's see what we got here. Yoshi, what's up, dude? I'm in the market for a compact camera that I can carry along with me while I'm writing my EUC. Any suggestions? How compact, bro? I mean, here. We got this little guy. Insta360 One R. And they just released an RS, so even a newer version of this camera. This little guy. Let's see if the camera will focus. I don't know if it will. Looks like it won't. But this is the Insta360 One R with the Leica Mod. Really good mod. And what's really great about this action camera is that it's modular. So it's 3 different pieces. You have the lens, you have the brain, and you have the battery. They all split up into 3 different pieces, so you can actually interchange to a 360 mod or to a 4K mod, and you can attach a bigger battery if you want. And now the RS came out. They came out with a better brain, more powerful brain. Unfortunately, for some reason, what I don't understand is why don't they sell the brains separately? They made a completely modular camera. Why don't they just allow us to buy the brain? That way you can just plug it in and move on with our lives. But I'm going to reach out to Insta360, might connect with them and see what's going on. Maybe they plan on doing that in the future. I don't know. Because demand for that camera is pretty high. That's probably why they're not selling the pieces separately, or the brains separately, I should say. So works 4-channel audio 24-bit. Meanwhile, with Final Cut Pro, there were many problems at launch of the A7S III. Just Premiere works fine. I have no Final Cut, but if it works, I am in. It works, man. I've had 0 issues with Final Cut Pro, especially with the A7S III. I'm very happy with that software. Apple knows how to make software. Adobe does too, but not for me. Not for me. Adobe is not really user-friendly for me. Again, preferences, guys. Don't get triggered. This is my preference. All right? Just like I don't prefer anchovies on my pizza. It's a preference, okay? It's a freaking preference. Don't get triggered. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that, guys. Again, back to my favorite camera of 2022, A7S Mark III. This is the camera that I've been using all of 2021. Flawless. Absolutely flawless. I plan on keeping this camera until 2024 minimum. It's been so reliable, so good. I've dropped it. That's right, I've dropped this camera. I've dropped it with my Sigma 24-70. I was doing something really stupid, guys. I put the camera and the lens on a gimbal. I was filming a friend of mine coming down some stairs, and I put the gimbal on a really shady, like half-bent monopod, and it was such poor judgment on my part. Like, I knew the monopod was gonna snap, but I continued to use it. It was so stupid. Like, it was so badly bent. So I put the monopod up in the air, and I filmed it. And since everything crashed, it corrupted the cards, and it It even corrupted my 1R. My 1R was attached to it. Or no, my 1X2 was attached to it. And because the impact of when it fell was so hard, it corrupted the cards. That's how hard the impact was. Luckily, most of the beating was absorbed by the gimbal and the camera cage, and the lens itself got knocked, but I took it to service, and I noticed that there was a little bit of a bump on the zoom whenever I zoomed in and zoomed out, but they said it was normal, which I thought was odd. I would have liked them to fix that, because I took it to another camera shop. They said, no, it's not normal, and then I think they were just lazy. They didn't want to, because it was a warranty repair, they didn't want to fix it. So unfortunately, that's what it was. But yeah, the A7S III is a robust camera. I've dropped it from 10 feet on a monopod. I will not be doing that again. I've learned my lesson. I understand that most cameras can't handle such a big bump. Canons, though. Canons can. Canon camera bodies are like bricks. Really robust build quality. I just wish Sony learned more from Canon when it comes down to ergonomics. Because when you hold a 5D, no other camera compares to it. Go to B&H or any local camera store near you, hold a 5D, and then hold a Sony A7S III or the newest Sony Alpha lines. And you tell me if you feel a difference, because trust me, you do. Which one would you prefer, A7S III or A7 IV? It depends what you need it for, man. A7S III, the biggest perk to that camera is its low light capabilities. But even the A7 IV has phenomenal low light. I would say go for the A7 IV. I chose the A7S III at that time because that was the camera that was being released. The A7 IV was later on released, and I needed a new camera ASAP. So I went for the A7S III. I also wanted those slow-mo frame rates, like full HD 240, 4K at 120. That's something that the A7 IV doesn't have. So I needed those features, and yeah, that's why I went with the A7S III. But most people don't need it. A7 IV is a phenomenal camera, and you save about, I think, $1,000 if you go for the A7 IV. So that means more money in your pocket, more money that you can spend on accessories, lenses, lights, and so on. So you got to decide for yourself, my friend. What would you need the A7S III for? Just focus on the low light, I think, and the frame rates. I think those are the two things that people are going to be really looking at when comparing the A7 IV and the A7S III. I'm using Canon lens cap on my Sony 55mm 1.8. Yeah, I have a few lens caps from like different companies. It's funny. I still have some Canon caps too. 2 bodies and 3 lenses. Yes, but you have to prove that you make money with photography. Only photography, really? How do you prove? So what? You got to show them your tax returns or like your business license, or how do you prove to them? These companies, they're too snoopy, man. I don't like it when companies snoop like that. I bought a lot of camera gear from you. Give me pro support. Why you gotta snoop into my personal and business life? I hate it. I also hate it when companies ask for your email to sign into their apps. I can't stand it. I don't know why. They do this obviously so they can get your email and then send you emails of when their new products come out. But I hate it. It's like shady business tactics. I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it when companies are snoopy or sneaky. So what's your opinion? Reasons for using it? My reasons, man, A7S III. I remember going out into downtown LA, literally no lights on me, only street lighting, and this camera performed so well. I'm not an S-Log 3 fan, but I am a Cinetone fan. And it performed super well. Autofocus, like, it's just, I love the camera. I'm an A7S fan because I used to have a Mark 1 version. And I was in love with the Mark 1 too. The Mark 1 did so well in low light. Even for 2022, that camera still kicks ass. The only problem with the A7S Mark 1 was the bad battery life. Really bad battery life. So I'm happy they upgraded the batteries to make them larger, last longer. So that's really important. Thank you, Sony, for doing that. But that was the one big issue that I had with the A7S Mark 1. Best prime lens for video. Best prime lens for video. It's going to have to be a 35 mil. I would go for a 35 mil. I don't own that lens. I don't own a 35 prime. I prefer zoom, but if you want a lightweight prime, I gotta research it more, but I would say 35 mil prime would be a really nice video lens. 50 mil prime as well. 85 mil prime. I actually do have a 50 mil prime. A 50 mil prime anamorphic. It's over there on the side. And why not the A1? Just the money? To be honest, yes. $5,000 right now. I mean, that camera is, it's an 8K camera, right? 8K or 6K, I don't remember the specs on the A1. But yeah, for me, that's overkill. For me, that's overkill. I don't think that many people bought the A1. And because Sony likes to push out cameras every year, like crazy amounts of cameras, the value of the A1 is going to drop pretty quickly, just like the A9 did. The A9 was basically the A1 in 2017, whenever it came out. Now they have an A9 Mark II. Like, too many cameras. Sony makes way too many cameras. There we go. Laxmi says go with the 55mm 1.8 Zeiss. You have that lens, so you know it better than I do, but yes, 55mm Zeiss 1.8. Most of my lenses are Zeiss. I can't complain with Zeiss. I've been very happy with them. Zeiss has always been around. And I think that's just, you know, again, it's an investment for your business. You get to write it off at the end of the year. It's great. It's really great. Woo. Do you do much with Zhiyun's image transmission systems? Are you doing a review of the Master Eye Visual Controller VC100 with the Transmod Video Transmission Transmitter AI? Yes, I did with the Weeble 2. I did. I prefer Hollyland systems. Hollyland is way more professional, but in order to use the AI tracking features, you need to be using Zhiyun's Master Eye. Have I ever visited Goa, India? No, I have not. I've never visited India, but that's on the map. I'm going to be coming to see you, so stay tuned. It looks like, guys, luckily, I think since NAB is happening this year, I will be attending NAB. There's an 80 to 85% chance that I'll be attending NAB this year. So if you're coming to NAB, stop by. I'm going to be, it looks like I most likely will be going with Hollyland. Hollyland makes these really unique transmission systems. So this is the Cosmos C1. This is what's allowing me to broadcast this stream in HD. I'm using one of their transmission systems as a capture card. And we're just ironing out some of the details, but it looks like I'll be going with them to NAB this year. So that'll be a lot of fun. Next step after Weeble S. Well, I'm past the Weeble S, man. I sold that gimbal. I don't own it anymore. I'm on the Weeble 2 now. This is my, I switch between the Weeble 2 and the Crane 2S. Those are the two gimbals that I'm currently using, guys. Later today, I will be shooting a new gimbal tutorial video of some new techniques that I've learned, because I don't remember the last time I shot and showed you guys a gimbal tutorial. That's actually what made my channel to what it is today. So I'll be working later today out in the park recording some new techniques. So I hope you guys will be watching that video. I have it planned to be released on either Thursday or Friday. Depending, I'm supposed to edit it tomorrow. That's the plan. So stay tuned for that, because I'm going to showcase some new gimbal techniques. Some things that I haven't revealed in previous videos, because I still, even though I haven't been showing you guys that I've been using gimbals in my videos on YouTube, that doesn't mean I stopped gimbals completely. No, I use gimbals almost every day to, you know, whenever I shoot clients or product shots, I need gimbals. Gimbals make everything just smooth and buttery. So I constantly use gimbals, and I've developed new techniques on how to get even smoother footage. So stay tuned for that, because it's going to be a lot of fun. And I know that there's a lot of new filmmakers, a lot of new videographers that entered this realm, that entered this environment. So I'm sure they're going to want to see some newer videos on YouTube on how to use gimbals and cameras and stuff. Come to Goa, there's a lot to shoot, like beautiful churches and temples and a lot of Portuguese houses. Wow, okay. I'm totally down for that. Churches are gorgeous. Specifically, I'd like to know if the second generation transmission system will work with the Weeble S. I went APS-C mirrorless route for my Weeble S and used the Sony a6600. Both I bought May 2021. So the second gen transmission systems, I'm not entirely sure, man. I don't have the Weeble S to double check it for you. I would have done it right here on the stream, but I just don't have the Weeble S with me. It depends if you want the motion tracking, if you want the AI motion tracking. I just got the Weeble 2. Should I do a DIY Trinity conversion? Yes, you should, man. You should. But here's the thing. You got to make sure that your Trinity conversion is done right. So you got to make sure that the stabilizer, the manual stabilizer that you're using, isn't too cheap. Carbon fiber is the way to go. It's very strong. And you got to make sure that you're not going past the weight limit, guys. Manual stabilizers have a weight limit. I think most of them range between 12 and 15 pounds. So make sure you're not going over that. I learned how to balance a gimbal from your channel years ago. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you, dude. More tutorials like that are coming out. I'm trying to do a new balancing tutorial for every single gimbal, because even though gimbals are more or less the same, each individual model is a little bit different. So I need to be working on some new content with that. New content on gimbal techniques, how to walk, run, and just access different gimbal features. I think that's very important to showcase for you guys. So I appreciate your support, man. That means a lot. Thank you for being around for so long. Yeah, guys, and if you like these streams, please let me know so I can do more of them throughout the week. I would like to do at least 2 live streams a week plus a dedicated YouTube video. That's the minimum that's the minimum content I plan on releasing every week. Yeah, that's the minimum. I would like to do at least some sort of videos 3 times a week on YouTube. To be honest, I did go through burnout. I talked about this on my last couple streams. So I'm trying to get back into the habit of publishing more and more content. And Instagram as well, because 2020 and early 2021, I've been pushing so much content on Instagram. It's been insane. I had no life. It was just me and Instagram for a full year and a half. And that burnt me out. See, that's the thing, guys. When you create content and you get really excited about the content, you immerse yourself into it. Nothing else matters. Nobody, nothing, just you and the content. So I basically locked myself in my house, closed all the drapes, closed all the blinds, didn't leave the house for a year and a half, and I just focused on Instagram content, burned myself out. I did the same thing with YouTube, burned myself out. So moral of the story is to not do that and to do everything in moderation. Live your life while also working. Don't choose work over life. Don't choose life over work, but choose a happy medium. That will prevent burnout, and that will overall increase your state of happiness. That's what I learned. And burnout is very damaging, guys. I'm still getting over it, and it's been years. I'm getting better, but when burnout happens, when a major burnout happens, it can last years. So it can really take a lot of time to get back into it. So in our studio, TW is asking, so in our studio we use the complete Edelkrone system, includes the Jib 1 and the vision module for tracking PZ lenses like the new 16-35. The perfect comparison. Perfect companion. Such systems are no option for you. Edelkrone is like the Apple of the filmmaking industry, guys. Edelkrone is great. Yes, I would definitely, if I needed motion, how do I say it? Not motion tracking. What is the word I'm looking for? If I needed motion control systems heavily, like for a lot of like product photography or videography, I would go with Edelkrone. But because that's not my main source of interest right now, or main source of work, I don't need it, which is why I haven't bought Edelkrone systems. But Edelkrone is phenomenal. You were talking about Apple quality. Nothing is better than Apple quality, and you're getting that with Edelkrone. So if Apple was doing a lot of stuff like filmmaking equipment, they would be doing what Edelkrone is doing. Edelkrone started the trend for those double length sliders. Sliders that not only move on a tripod, but move on their own track. So it actually increases the length to double. They started that trend. And I don't understand why the patents didn't go through or whatever, but a lot of companies ripped them off and started doing that as well. But I think Edelkrone was the first one to actually discover that and make it happen. So yes, props to Edelkrone, really cool motion control systems. Sam says, I just got a Weeble S, budget constraints. How future-proof do you think I am? Mostly shooting DSLR mirrorless. The Weeble S is a very future-proof gimbal. Very future-proof. Why? Because it still uses 18650 interchangeable batteries, which means that this gimbal will outlive you. You never, ever, 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 ever have to worry about dead batteries, because you can just buy new ones on Amazon. You got yourself a future-proof gimbal. Just make sure the motor wires don't get wet or tugged or ripped, and take care of the gimbal. Don't be dropping it or anything like that, and the gimbal will outlive you. It really will. Brushless motors don't really have a lifespan. They will literally work. As long as they get power delivery, they will work. Yeah, they will always work. No issues. So the only thing with the Weeble S is that it all depends on your payload. Like if you decide to shoot on much heavier glass or much heavier cameras, then you might have to, upgrade. But if you're not talking about weight, if you're just talking about like overall ease of use, stability, and just overall how long is the product going to last you, it's going to last you a very long time. I love them streams. I'm rained out today, so I'm getting to see it live for a change. Awesome, man. Thank you for tuning in. Hello, how to make the record button on the Weeble 2 with Sony a7 III. I covered this in a video. You need the proper cables. I covered this in the... Go on my channel, go to the YouTube, or go to the videos tab. Type in Weeble 2. Or actually, you know what? I did a whole series with Ziyun. Go on Ziyun's YouTube channel. I did a whole instructional tutorial series with them on how to connect the gimbal to the camera, vice versa. So check out that video, and it will show you step by step on how to do that. Yeah, iPhone Do uses Edelkrone and gets mind-bending shots. Yeah, the dude's phenomenal. He needs to be a voiceover artist. I think he has a very cool voice for voiceover specifically. I like it when he gets all like like low and ooh, like he does a really good job. His lighting is great. His intros to his product videos are great. Props to that guy. I met him a few times. He's really cool, really kind, cool guy. My neck. Oh, did you guys hear that crack? I know other brands that no longer make replacement batteries for their old gimbals, normal batteries for the win. Exactly. So even though you're not buying the actual branded batteries, make sure the voltage stays the same. If the voltage is too low, then the gimbal just won't turn on. So grab your Zhiyun batteries, check the voltage, right? It should be written on the label. And then when you buy the new batteries off of Amazon, make sure the voltage and capacity is the same. And then it will work. There's no reason why it wouldn't. Thanks so much. You are very welcome, man. Thank you so much for tuning in onto the stream. And guys, if this live stream helps you out, please give it a like, comment, send me a super chat. Every cent that this YouTube channel makes goes back into the YouTube channel. I want to be able to live stream a few times a week with you guys, so that way, you know, the super chats give me more of that ability to do so. So if you can, throw a super chat my way. I'd be very appreciative and grateful. Thank you so much. If you don't know what a super chat is, it's a small donation using the super chat $ icon right on the chat. So feel free to do that. That would be great. That would make my day. And that'd be cool. So does anyone else have any other questions? We've been going on for 51 minutes. I like to do at least 1 hour live streams. So we're going to go on for another 9 minutes or so. I'm out of water, which tells you something. I've been talking a lot. But yeah, guys, hopefully you will be coming to NAB. I know things are still a little wacky with traveling and all that stuff, but if you are, you know, in the US or around Vegas or around LA and you think you might be going to NAB, just know that there's an 80% chance that I'm going as well. 80% chance. Not 100, but 80% chance. That's pretty good odds still. So yeah, let me know if you're going to NAB. For those of you who don't know, NAB is the largest convention for broadcasters or people that just use filmmaking equipment. National Association of Broadcasters, that's what it stands for, NAB. It is huge. It's not as big as CES. CES is the largest electronic trade show, but NAB is pretty damn close. TW, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. You the man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But yeah, guys, one of the things that I like to preach a lot is building a network. Building a network is very important, which is why, you know, COVID kind of messed it up for all of us when it came down to going to trade shows and conventions and just meeting other people. But now that COVID is kind of dying down, we're allowed to go back to these conventions, meet other people, and just have fun. So if you can, make it out to NAB this year. It's in Vegas, Las Vegas, and just mingle with people. You're going to see a lot of big brands there. You can collaborate with brands. And just get your name out there. I think that's really important. Getting your name out there, meeting people, shaking hands, grabbing coffee with them, just talking. It will be worth it for you in the long run, guys. It'll be worth it for you in the long run. Build a network that you can work with. That's what this business is all about. It's not just cool effects and knowing how to use a camera, but it's a lot. 90% of it, guys, I would say is how to build a network. Because once you start building a network, you're going to get a constant flow of clients, a constant flow of business. It's not going to end as long as you have a strong network. Where is the rave music? Oh, Jesus. The rave music is turned off because YouTube will flag this video. Any other wide-angle lens other than the 1635 f2.8 for my Canon R6? Look at some Rokinon lenses. They make, or Laowa. Laowa makes some, like, I think 8mm Rokinon has a 14mm, which I also like, but Rokinon's 14mm does have significant distortion. But again, it adds to the look of the lens. It adds to the look, and I think that's important. Audio recording baked in via external recording or sync it in post. I sync all of my audio in post. Unless I'm out shooting, on my own. Sometimes when I shoot gimbal videos, I don't have anyone helping me, so I just hook up a lav or a mic to my A7S III and just have it baked in. But whenever I'm shooting inside the studio or indoors, I always sync it in post because I want the ability to shoot the best audio possible, and that's through my Rode NTG2 being fed into my Zoom H6. So I've been very happy with the overall quality of that setup. You guys let me know, how do you like the audio quality that you're listening to right now? I think it's pretty good. But yes, I do sync every bit of audio and video in post, which is why I try not to stop the camera too much. Yeah. By the way, there is automated software that will automatically link up your audio to your video. On top of that, it will also do multicam stitching or multicam editing for you. It's called Pluralize. It's made by a company called Red Giant. I think it costs like $400. It's a one-time $400 fee. Buy it. You can use it as many times as you want, and it will create multicam clips for you in Premiere and Final Cut or standalone. And it will also sync the audio for you. It's a huge time saver. Especially if you shoot live events with multiple camera angles, you want that ability. I'm a wedding filmmaker and went upgrade for my GH5. Maybe the A7 IV is a good choice. Overheating. I had the GH4 and I sold it simply because of bad autofocus, but the A7 IV, it's going to have the best autofocus. So if that's a big deal for you, and I'm sure it is since you're a wedding filmmaker, yeah, A7 IV is the way to go. My work is houses usually. I've never been there before, and I have 3.5 hours to discover everything possible about it and document what I find. So it's a run and gun deal and used to do pics. Went with the 3.812. Nice, man. Basically a show and tell gig. Very cool. Laowa got 9mm with 0 distortion. 9mm, there we go. That's the lens. And they claim 0 distortion. I don't know that lens. I need to have a look at it. But we'll see. Scott, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. I really appreciate you, man. Really nice of you, dude. Thoughts on Resolve? Resolve is a great software. Do I personally use it? No. Have I tried it? Yes. I just like Final Cut, man. It's preferences. It's all about preferences. What will get you the job done? What will get it done the most efficient way? For me, it's Final Cut. But Resolve is great. A lot of professionals use Resolve, but so professionals also use Final Cut. Preferences, guys. Preferences. How about Shure SM7B? I don't know. I don't know that microphone. I've been sticking usually to Sennheiser and Rode. Sennheiser, I think, is the cream of the crop. You can't get better. I have Sennheiser. I used to have Sennheiser mics. They made the best lavs I've ever heard in my life. And they also made the most expensive lavs I've ever seen in my life. A good Sennheiser lav kit's like $600-700 minimum. Probably used, I think. But yeah. Sennheiser sure makes very good podcasting mics. I know that. But sorry, my chair is old. I gotta get a new one. But yeah, guys, that's my 2 cents on audio. Hollyland also makes some really cool microphones. Hollyland Lark 150. Those are the newest lavs that I've been using. And they produce surprisingly great quality and very minimal, actually no distortion. No distortion on those mics. Usually you hear a little bit of fuzziness on a lot of mics. But they discovered a new type of signal. I forgot what it's called, but it doesn't use FM or radio signals. It uses a whole different type of signal. So if there's going to be any distortion, the only distortion you're going to hear is just those random cutouts if you go too far. But you won't hear any fuzziness, which is really annoying. But yeah, guys, we're coming close to an hour. I'm going to go ahead and sign off of the stream here. This was really great. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, if this stream has helped you in any sort of way, entertained you in any sort of way, please feel free to throw me a super chat. I appreciate those of you who already have. I really, really do appreciate it. It helps the channel a lot. And also give this live stream a like. I'll leave it on so you can replay it or share it with your friends and family. And I'll be very grateful. I'll see you on the next stream. I'll start scheduling these out so that way you're prepared. And hopefully I'll be able to see you on the next one. Thank you guys so much.